This time of year, one thing that we're seeing a lot of is actually seeing rising numbers of hand, foot, and mouth. We're seeing a lot of cases on the front line of what we call gastroenteritis, which is a fancy word for sort of a stomach flu where kids will develop vomiting and diarrhea. And then we're seeing a lot of cases of the common cold. And COVID can often look like the common cold with runny nose, sore throat, cough, fever. And so we're seeing all of these things at once. This is a common thing for us to see in the back to school season. But again, it's complicated by the fact that COVID is in the mix and we need to be mindful.
You can have two viruses at the same time. I mean, you have heard about COVID and flu and but what about some of these other viruses? Can you have COVID and then contract hand, foot, and mouth disease or chickenpox or other viruses?
Yes, you can absolutely get two viruses at the same time, and that complicates things. I would say the other thing that sometimes happens to kids is that they'll get one virus, and just when they're getting over that virus, maybe when they go back to school or get reintroduced to their daily activities again, they'll get a second virus right away. And so what that can feel like to a parent is that my child has been sick for 3-4 weeks. Are they ever going to get better? And it's not because they haven't recovered from the first virus, it's because they've gotten a second one during the time of recovery from that first virus.
Can you tell us a little bit about hand, foot, and mouth disease? What is it? What do people look for as far as symptoms?
Hand, foot, and mouth disease is an illness that has a constellation of symptoms that usually include some combination of fever, a rash, and that rash will often be present, not just on hands and feet, but the entire body. And then the reason it's got this mouth piece in the title is that people will often get sores in their mouths, little ulcerations in their mouth, usually in around the insides of the mouth by the lips or on the tongue, sort of at the front of the mouth is where people will tend to get these lesions. It tends to be an illness that brings a lot of kids into the pediatrician's office. And so we think about it as a common pediatric illness. It's pretty alarming for parents when they see that their child has lesions in their mouth, has lesions all over their hands and feet, or a rash that's all over their body. And it can be quite dramatic. And it's often quite dramatic in younger kids, which is why we think of it as a pediatric illness. But in truth, anybody can get the virus.